it going?
I am doing fan-diddly-tastic. How are you?
I am good.
Good. Well, welcome to another Picture Show podcast. I am Madeline.
And I'm Olivia.
And we are your splendid, sexy hosts.
Yes. But we're doing something a little bit different today, and I'm super excited.
I might be more excited. Been thinking about this all day.
But today is not a film review episode. Today is kind of a bonus episode, and we're going to be talking about dad movies.
Dad movies.
So what is a dad movie?
Dad movie is my soul projected onto the screen. I always thought a dad movie is like, you know, a movie that your dad's shown you. It's, you know, sort of family friendly, maybe like when you were a kid, like you were 8 or 9, it was kind of pushing on the inappropriate side and you felt like a little badass that your dad was showing you a movie that had like the word like fuck in it or like shit or something. Also kind of nostalgic for him. Maybe it was a movie like he grew up watching or a movie he saw in college that, you know, him and his buddies bonded over. All war movies are dad movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That sort of thing. That's how I view a dad movie. Is it's like kind of silly, can also be like badass, but it's just generally something that like he would want to show his kids and be like, this is an awesome movie and here's why. And then the kids are like, yeah, dad, so cool.
I've heard the term dad movie thrown around a lot recently. It's not an actual genre of movies. Like, you know, you hear the word chick flick and you know automatically know what that is.
Right.
You hear the word dad movie, and I think it kind of means something different to everybody based off of their dad and their relation to movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it would be fun to we created our own little list of what a dad movie is based off of what you just said, and then also a few other things. So like you said, it's kind of pretty much all war movies are dad movies. There's always, you know,
I think the one movie that I've never seen, but based off of my my assumptions, the only war movie I think would not be a dad movie is like War Horse.
I mean, it's a Spielberg movie, and Spielberg is like peak dad movie director. So I don't know. I would say I've seen it. I would say it's dad movie because it's like not very gory at all. It's just a sweet kind of boy and his animal kind of story, which seems very in line in what dads like. But
I guess my dad hates horses. So I'm thinking like a boy and his horse, like Seabiscuit, like that type of stuff is not a dad movie because my dad hates horses.
I think it's pretty obvious that I am not a dad and you are not a dad. So
not yet.
This entire episode is just, you know, speculation. Here's the list of criteria for a dad movie based off of Madeline and I's assumptions.
Lay it on me.
So a dad movie is often based on something historical, and it's often a very whitewashed version of that historical thing. So, you know, for example, Braveheart, Hacksaw Ridge, both war movies, both based off of something historical. There's a lot of man on a mission stories going on, a lot of, you know, dads like underdog stories, you know, rise above.
Yeah, they do. I'm nodding emphatically right now.
Yeah. Rising above the any obstacles that are thrown their way. There's a lot of, you know, police military stories going on. Either the dads are on the police side and it's a police fighting crime, or it's outsmarting the authority figures, which are sometimes the police or the military. So dads can be on either side of that.
Either way, as long as it's like a like hyper masculine like role, dads are all about it.
There's a lot of action. There's a lot of action, but not a lot of gore. I don't know, you know, Saving
like
Private
shootouts,
Ryan,
but like nobody's like guts spill out. Like
yeah,
that sort
so
of
like
thing.
Saving Private Ryan wouldn't be considered a dad movie. I mean, it could be, it depends, but you know, if people's intestines are, you know, being, you know, shown, usually that's a little too much for dads. Sports movies, always a go-to for dads.
Mm,
Because, maybe it's nostalgic if they played sports when they were younger, or just, something that they enjoy watching in general. And then
right.
having that like deeper human, underdog story on top of it. It's all coming together. A lot of dad movies are very conservative when it comes to like sex or women. A lot of the women characters in dad movies are oftentimes kind of background, don't have a lot to do other than be supportive to the dad avatar in dad movies.
Dad avatar. That was brilliant. Thank you for saying that.
So like you said earlier, dad movies are often nostalgic or sentimental to dad himself. Like they are maybe a movie that he watched when he was younger, or they remind him of his younger self that he can now share with his kids or his family or friends, now that he's a dad. A movie that dad can enjoy with his family and pass on wisdom that words cannot do alone.
I love this proverbial dad that we're speaking of. Oh, it just brings
The
my heart
generic
joy.
dad that, exists.
Insert dad here.
Yeah. Dad movies can be raunchy sometimes, but still in a conservative way. Just, tastefully raunchy with, silly humor, silly dad jokes.
Right.
And so pretty much any Tom Hanks movie, any Denzel Washington movie, any Ron Howard movie, is most likely a dad movie.
I agree with all of the things that have been said, because I'm just like, I'm grinning to myself thinking about like my top 5 list and how most of them fit into this based off of our criteria. I think like I made kind of one exception.
But I'm sure there are exceptions.
Yeah, I mean there's an exception to every rule, but yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
So our plan is we both asked our respective dads what their top 5 movies are. We didn't give them any specifications on what kind of movies we were looking for. We just asked for their top 5 movies in general. And
of all human history.
Yes. And we're planning to list those off and compare those to the criteria that we came up with. And once we do that, we are going to provide our own top 5 dad movies, generic movies that we think dads all over the world can enjoy. So before we get into that, do you have like any sort of anecdotes regarding like you and your dad watching movies, like why this is kind of a fun topic to cover?
My dad is like very influential on a lot of like my favorite movies, as I talked about before, because it's one of those things where he'll like say, this is like my dad's like go-to move when he wants to watch a movie, but he doesn't like want to say outright that he wants to watch this movie. Something will be said and he'll be like, oh, it's like that one movie where this happens. And of course we haven't seen it. So we're like, Dad, what are you talking about? I don't know what movie you're talking about. He's like, what? You haven't seen this movie? What? Oh no, we have to go. We have to watch this right now. We have to. And I'm like, Dad, you could have just said, hey, like, let's watch Saving Private Ryan or whatever movie it is. You know what I mean? Like, what? You haven't seen this movie? What? So then he'll like go on, he'll figure out how to access the film, or we just go on Amazon and find it for him. And that's how we start watching movies with my dad. But yeah, he's definitely like just looking at his top 5 definitely fits pretty. There's like one like wild card. There's one from like complete left field. I don't think you're ready for it. I'm so like excited. I knew it was gonna be on this list, but it's just not a dad movie at all. Anyway, but he's always like that, you know. He's always like, oh, like total dad movie, like aficionado. All of his favorite movies are like, except for the one from left field, all of his favorite movies are over 20 years old.
I'm excited.
What about you and your pa?
My dad is probably the sole reason that I went into studying film and pursuing film as a career.
Oh, cool.
he would like he when we were growing up, he owned a little like camcorder video thing, and he recorded everything we did. Like we have hours upon hours upon hours of just like home videos because he recorded everything. And I think that had like a really profound impact on me. And he would always watch movies with us. We always did like a Friday night slumber party where we would watch movies in the living room all together. And then eventually my sisters and my mom kind of like got bored with that, but that was the one way that me and my dad kind of connected. And he, as he got older though, he started doing this weird thing where he would only watch 30 minutes of a movie at a time.
What?
So like it took him like a week to finish a movie because he'd only watched 30 minutes. And it doesn't matter if we're watching it with him. He'd put it on, and that was his way of being like, I'm watching a movie now. So we're like, all right, I guess dad wants to watch this movie. So we go sit down, and he's very strict about his timing and everything. So he would have an alarm set for 30 minutes, and then he would turn the movie off, and it's like, you know, the climax of the movie, and we're like, oh, I guess I'll watch this tomorrow.
What? That's interesting. I was gonna say my dad does something similar where he'll like, usually if we ask him to watch a movie, he'll and he wants to watch it, he'll go down and watch it with us and watch the whole thing. But if it's something like we started, my dad will like come in and he'll like sit down for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes and he'll like watch it, and then he'll get up and leave. Or like, you can stay, like you can stay and watch the movie.
I'm done with this.
But then he'll go, you know, he has like other things to do, so he'll be off doing other stuff. So yeah, I was thinking that's what your dad was doing, not that he was like setting a timer.
No, I don't know why that was his method of choice.
Life in moderation, Olivia.
I guess he can only have so much of a good thing. A lot of my movie taste has evolved from my dad's taste in movie. He loves older movies. He's a film buff, but I don't know. He really likes older movies. He's kind of like a walking encyclopedia. He just likes I think his favorite part of every movie is the credits, because he can like go in and see if he can recognize any of the names and like connect them to other movies that he's watched. And he likes to kind of study the behind the scenes, which is where I got into that, you know, I got interested in that.
Yeah.
Learning about the behind the scenes, like the making of the movies. He loves to like collect facts about movies and the making of them. And yeah, so it was really fun. But his list is a little all over the place too. I think they're all pretty much in line with our criteria, but he's got a range. And a lot of them surprised me because he has a few movies that he likes to watch over and over and over again, and we just assume that those are the movies he'll be watching, but surprisingly none of those are on his list. So
maybe he did it for shock value.
Yeah, I think he was trying to
Olivia will never guess what my fake top 5 favorite movies are.
Trying to subvert expectations, I guess.
Right. Classic dad.
Yeah, so with that, I guess we can get started on our dad's top 5 favorite movies of all time. So I will start. Okay. All right. So my dad's favorite movies of all time: Galaxy Quest, Hoodwinked,
What?
The Adventures of Robin Hood, The Godfather, and The Sting. So none of these surprise me. But
are we talking Hoodwinked like the animated movie?
Yes, the 2006 animated Red Riding Hood movie. Yes.
So my dad also, it's not on his list. It's not on his top 5 list, but he also really likes that movie.
I feel like I understand the reason for all of these. So we can just go through and we'll deconstruct it here for a second.
Okay. I've never heard of Galaxy Quest.
You've never? I love Galaxy Quest. It's a Tim Allen movie, and it's like a spoof off of Star Trek. It's like a Star Trek spoof. It's so good. It's so funny. It's very Tim Allen, but it's I guess that's on brand. I guess Tim Allen is like, you know,
it's another dad actor.
Dad, yeah.
I haven't seen that many Tim Allen movies though.
Well, this is one of his better ones. I'll say that. But Galaxy Quest was one of those movies that like my dad introduced to me and my sisters when we were like in middle school, and it was a little raunchy. It's like space adventure. It's silly. It's spoof. It's like dad jokes. It's like the whole thing. And it was like
spoofs are another like big dad movie thing for sure.
Exactly. And me and my sisters just like really enjoyed watching it because we were 12. We're like, this is hilarious, Dad. And so it was just like a way for us to bond, and I think that's why he likes it so much.
Right.
Hoodwinked is also, I love Hoodwinked.
I love Hoodwinked. I think that's probably, so part of like my speech pattern is me quoting just like random shit, and Hoodwinked has to be like something I say at least on a weekly basis.
Hoodwinked is like one of those movies that's so underrated. I'm really, really happy that it's on his list. And it makes perfect sense because it has like a lot of the elements of a dad movie. It's, adventure, it's a spoof. There's a lot of like nostalgic elements like Fletch. We watched this movie in theaters when it came out, and my dad was crying in his seat watching it. And me and my sisters we had no idea a lot of the references at the time.
Right.
But my dad was like cracking up, and we were just like, I don't know, but he really enjoyed it, and ever since then we've watched it a million times, and it's
we need to
one
watch
of his favorite movies.
That has to be a movie we watch, because my dad's favorite part of that movie is like when Red is in like the mine with the goat and he's singing, like he's got the banjo and he's like, be prepared, be prepared, don't be scared, be prepared. My dad like almost passed out. He was laughing so hard at that part. I guess like the song just cracked him up. This stupid like blind goat, like just like
it's a perfect movie.
It's so good.
My dad loves Fletch though. Like when I think that was like the peak nostalgic like throwback for him, being like, oh my gosh, Fletch, like you guys know Fletch? We're like, no, Dad, that's like a really obscure movie from the 70s. No, I don't know what Fletch is, but
I also don't know what Fletch is.
He really appreciated it. It's like a Chevy Chase. It's like 70s or 80s, I don't know.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase like detective movie. Which is like what the wolf is like emulating, basically. Yeah, so Hoodwinked, 2006 is my dad's second favorite movie. His third favorite movie is The Adventures of Robin Hood from 1938. This one is, Robin Hood is, just the story of Robin Hood, I think, is a very dad story, steal from the rich, give to the poor. He's the good guy. He's doing the crimes, fighting the powers that be. It's just a story that's like super old. But the 1938 version specifically, the actress that plays Maid Marian was an actress named Olivia de Havilland. And
I'm sensing a pattern here.
This movie there's like a web of dots being connected with this movie. So first off, it was the first movie that he and my mom saw together. It was like their first date or whatever.
Okay.
And he really liked Olivia de Havilland as an actress, thought she was really pretty. And so whenever they had me, eventually, he named me Marion, Olivia, Joy. All of the names. Joy is my mom's.
As many as they could fit in.
Yeah, Joy is my mom's contribution to my name, but Marion Olivia is my dad's contribution, because Marion is, my grandma's name, but it's also Maid Marian from Robin Hood, Olivia de Havilland, the actress, just their first date. He's just trying to make it super romantic and like put all the dots together from this one movie. So I think that's why.
Look at you little symbol of romance.
Yeah, that's
assigned at birth.
I failed miserably, but
okay, Bella from Twilight. I told you I was gonna make one Twilight reference every episode.
Yeah, but I think that's why this is on his list. Also, I have already said the adventure, all that stuff.
Right.
Also, he loves old movies, and that's his one super old movie on this list.
Yeah.
Next
really
is, the classic, The Godfather.
Mm.
I a mafia movie. I don't know if all mafia movies fall into the dad movie category. This one in particular, it's very slow. The violence is exciting, but it's not super graphic.
Yeah.
It's very clever, and dads like to be like, oh, you know, you see what they did there?
Yeah.
They like to be
Pause
like,
the movie and be
yeah,
like, let's go back. Let's go back. You gotta see it again.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory there. And then his last movie is The Sting, which I knew this was the one movie that was for sure going to be on his list. It's a 1973 film starring Robert Redford and someone else. I forget his name, but that doesn't matter. It's like a heist movie. It's like a con movie. And I think dads really like con movies because it's another, like, you know, you see what they did there.
Yeah,
How
like the
clever that is.
heist.
Because they're
Yeah.
in on the con.
Yeah.
They're not being conned. They're in on the con.
Or if it's like a heist movie and like, you know, the cops catch the heist guys and they're like, where's the money? And like they can't find the money anywhere. And your dad's like, the money's under the piano.
Yeah.
And then the cops leave and the heist guy reaches under the piano and pulls out the money. And you're just like, as a kid, you're like, ah!
Yes.
Like, money.
Oh, it's Robert Redford and Paul Newman. There we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Paul Newman. Man, that is an old movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it. I've only seen on your dad's list. I've only seen Hoodwinked and The Godfather.
Yep. I approve of his list. I think he showed his range of interests with this list. But not surprising. But some of the movies that I was expecting to be on this list was like Night and Day.
No idea what that is.
It's a Tom Cruise movie. It's just a generic Tom Cruise movie. It's like a spy, like, action thing. He will watch it no matter where he is, what time of day. If it's on TV, that's what he's watching.
It's staying on. 30 minutes.
He loves pretty much any Tom Cruise movie. He says that he doesn't like Tom Hanks, which I was surprised. I was like, really?
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
I know. I don't know. Maybe he's challenged by Tom Hanks.
Is he more dad than I am?
Yeah. He is America's dad, so I don't know.
He did single-handedly, you know, start the cure for coronavirus by donating his plasma.
Yeah, so Night and Day, Shooter, which is a Mark Wahlberg movie.
That Mark Wahlberg's another like dad actor.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dad actor because he started out in primarily action movies and has kind of like transitioned into comedy, like strictly comedy. Like he did all of his like action movies and he did like those action comedy movies and now he's almost like sticking with just comedy. I feel like a lot of dad actors do that. Like The Rock did like Fast and Furious. And then he's doing stuff like friggin' Jumanji. I mean, great movie. I love the new Jumanji. I'm usually not a fan of remakes, but the way they remade the new Jumanji, I enjoyed, personally.
Yeah, I think actors like Mark Wahlberg or The Rock or these actors that are dads falling into a specific genre of movie, it's like, you know, they only want to work a certain amount of hours every day. They don't want it to be too taxing. Like, they just want to go have fun making a movie with their buddies and then come home. They don't want to, you know, there's some people out there who are dads who are still dedicated to like the Oscar train and they want to like prove everything that they are and what they can do. But then there's, you know, the dads out there who are like, I'm fine just making a silly comedy. If people watch it, they watch it.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my dad's top 5. I'm so excited to hear Peter's top 5.
So I guessed for sure 3 out of the 5 correct.
Okay.
One of them I guessed in my head, but I was like, I doubt it. That's probably like, if anything, number 6. But it's on here, guys. All right. So my dad is a zany character. So his number one, I don't know if this is in any particular order. I'm just going to assume it is.
Mm-hmm.
So number one is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh,
number two.
That feels very on brand, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait for it. Number two is Saving Private Ryan. Very dadly, very on brand. Number three, Passion of the Christ. And that's not the one coming from left field. The Passion of the Christ. That, like, I knew, I guessed, and there's reasons behind that. I'll get into it as soon as I finish the list. Number four, Young Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic movie. And number five, the Minions movie.
Aww.
But that's just so random.
I like how we have the Passion of the Christ and the Minions movie in the same list.
Right? Again, my father's range. So
both our dads have like quite the range.
I know, it's all across the board. But I mean, I feel like the dad movie genre can also be kind of across the board in that manner. Because I mean, like, Tom Hanks movies mostly are war movies, but like any other movie that Tom Hanks pops up in, like Big, that's a dad movie. Even though if you think about it, Big is weird. Mm-hmm. But so The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, I've seen once when I was probably like 10 or 11. I was probably like 10. I don't remember anything about it except for like the famous scene where they're all like got their guns pointed at each other. Yeah, I remember that scene. I don't know why it says number one, because unless he's watched it when I'm not around, and I don't live with my parents, but he, like, I don't think he's seen it very recently, but he didn't really give me an explanation as to why.
I think Clint Eastwood is a very dad actor, director.
Yeah.
He's very conservative. He's very just like stoic and like masculine. And so all of those movies, all those spaghetti westerns, that was actually one of my dad, when I was asking my dad about his list, that was one that he also mentioned. So I think it's very, very on brand for the dad movies.
So Saving Private Ryan, I've never seen, but of course it's war, it's Tom Hanks, it's a quintessential dad movie. Like, what else is there to say about Saving Private Ryan? Like, I get the whole like guts thing, but I think like even Saving Private Ryan, yeah. I think the war and the Tom Hanks kind of override like the gore a little bit. I feel like if you have two dad elements, it's
both of our dads are like military people too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my dad was in the Marines, so
and my dad was Air Force. So I think it's, just in line with their worldview, I guess.
Exactly. The Passion of the Christ. Okay. So it does make me chuckle. I was like, almost as a joke, I was like, he's gonna have I think I said that to you. I was like, I'm pretty sure the Passion of the Christ is gonna be on this list. And I was like, I was kind of kidding, but then I was like, no, I'm actually probably right. He watches it every year. So my family and I are Catholic. So, and my dad is very involved in the Catholic tradition. So he does like Sunday school, like he'll teach Sunday school. He's very involved in the Catholic community, Knights of Columbus, the whole 9 yards. So he is like really into that sort of stuff. So I think also like Mel Gibson is in this movie, or not in the movie. He directed the movie. Sorry. But I think he like appreciates the like historical accuracy, like what most likely would have transpired at that time, like what everybody looked like, what like the scenery looked like, all that stuff. So I think my dad also was a history major in college, and he loved like ancient Rome. Like that was like his like niche era to study was like I think like the decline of the Roman Empire, because like the Roman Empire can be like broken down to like two halves, like the rise and the fall, obviously, but he was really interested in like the latter part of the Roman Empire, and that's kind of like the time of like Christ and like the collapse of the Roman Empire were around the same time, if I'm not mistaken. Don't come at me, history majors. I'm not like I'm not putting any money on that statement,
y'all.
Yeah. This ain't a history podcast, nerds. But he watches it every Good Friday. Like if he has the opportunity, like if I'm at the house, my dad will be like, "Oh, I'm watching." Like he'll like announce. He'll be like, This is the one time he will announce when he's watching a movie, like, in general. The one time is when he wants to watch The Passion of the Christ, and he'll be like, I'll be downstairs watching Passion of the Christ if anybody's interested. And I've seen it plenty of times. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times. I mean, as far as I can tell, like, it's historically accurate to what could/would have gone down at that time. And what's his name? Mel Gibson directed it, so
Yeah.
I think despite Mel Gibson's also Catholic, so despite being like a raging, crazy person, he did a good job of directing the movie. So
Yeah, I think Mel Gibson is another one of those like dad, like actor director types. A lot of his movies are, we got Braveheart, we got The Patriot, we got Hacksaw Ridge, we got Passion, apparently.
Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, my dad was also Catholic, but he decided to stick with the Jesus of Nazareth miniseries to watch every year. Not as hardcore as The Passion. So that's what we watched every year. But kudos to Peter for
he's really into it, man.
Yeah.
He loves that sort of stuff. So Young Frankenstein is just okay, so Mel Brooks humor, like Mel Brooks movies are very dadly and also just slap for my dad. Like Mel Brooks movies are just the like epitome of like my dad's like humor. And like it has like enough dirty jokes that it's like funny and adult, but at the same time, like I think I first saw it when I was like 12 or 13. So like some of the jokes are like a little like ooh, but for the most part, like they're just like funny jokes. Like it's just a stupid spoof
wink wink
of this Frankenstein story.
I just said it's a lot of wink winks at the camera kind of jokes.
Yeah, exactly. Very like you look into the camera, like break the fourth wall type moments, which are so funny.
Dad's
and it's like very
in on the joke.
Yeah, and it's like very quotable, and like you can watch it any time of year.
Yeah.
Like even though it's about Frankenstein, like I don't see it very much as like a Halloween movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I see it, I watch it whenever. I could watch it right now. Like that's how much I love that movie. So yeah, I knew that was going to be on there because that is one of my dad's favorite movies, for sure. And then we have the Minions movie.
We should have seen it coming. I mean,
yeah,
how could it not be on this list? This
is true and the story behind it is just like textbook Peter. So once a year, we kind of like rope my dad into seeing a movie with us. And the year that the Minions movie came out, I was at VCU, I'm pretty sure. I was still in college. I think Maeve was in college. My brothers were out of the house. So only Neve, my youngest sister, was available to rope my dad into seeing a movie. So that movie happened to be the Minions movie. Anyway, so my dad goes, takes Neve. He's like dragging her to this movie. He fucking loves it. Like he comes home absolutely raving about this movie. He was like, I almost broke a rib laughing. Like I don't like, I get it mostly because like it's nonsense. Like it's just completely nonsensical. So for the Minions movie, they literally can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like it's just these like green, like, pill shaped like little turds like walking around wherever. Their origin story doesn't matter. Like nothing about the movie matters. It's just the fact that they like go around and like speak gibberish and do stupid stuff. And I guess like the end of the movie, there's, I guess like the Minions save the day or whatever, and like they're awarded this like guitar. And I've seen the Minions movie because my dad made us watch it. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, I've never seen it. And he's like, what? We have to watch it.
That classic, the Minions movie.
So at the end of the Minions movie, one of the main minions is like awarded a guitar for whatever they did, and he just plays this like absolutely like mind-blowing guitar solo, and for whatever reason that killed my dad. Just this like little yellow thing, just like absolutely like shredding the guitar on like this stage at the end of the movie, like just blew his mind. He thought it was hilarious. He thought it was so funny. The next week, like my youngest sister was talking to one of her friends and she hadn't seen it. My dad was like, I'll take you again. So Neve, my dad, and then her friend like went to see the movie again. He just loves that movie. So now it's kind of a running gag, like birthdays, Christmas, like any opportunity we can get. He was a Minion for Halloween one year.
Oh wow.
Like, we get him Minion stuff, like birthday cards, Minions, like balloons, Minions, like wrapping
like
paper.
a boomer.
Minions. Yeah.
He's a boomer.
He's a boomer. I don't know. Like if my dad did Facebook, he would be like the Facebook moms that post all like the Minion memes. Like, I could go for a glass of wine right now, and it's like a Minion holding like the world's largest glass of wine. Something stupid like that. Like he loves the Minions, but I think it's so funny to me that he loves the Minions movie. But like I think like an almost more dad movie would be Despicable Me.
Yeah, no, for sure, because that's about being a dad.
Literally, it's about a dad, you know, raising, you know, 3 girls. He has 3 daughters. He has 2 sons, but we don't care about them. But they're not important right now. No, exactly. So that's why it kills me that he doesn't care for Despicable Me as much as he cares about the spin-off, which is the Minions. I think there have been more Minions movies than Despicable Me movies, if I'm not mistaken.
I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen the Minions movie. I've seen Despicable Me for sure. I think I've seen the second one, but
yeah, I've definitely seen 2 Despicable Me's, and I'm pretty sure there are 2 or 3 Minion movies. It might be equal amounts, like 3 Minion movies, 3 Despicable Me movies. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. Every time he like talks about the Minions, I'm just like, I don't get it.
I just the range cracks me up.
It's like the most serious movie you could possibly think of, Passion of the Christ, and then the most ludicrous movie you can think of, which is the Minions movie.
All right, so now that we've gone through our dad movies, we can go through our own dad movies. So I guess I can go first. I'm just gonna go through my list and then we can talk about each one. So
okay.
My list is Rudy,
Shawshank
Redemption, Forrest Gump, Jaws, and A Few Good Men.
Okay, on that list, I have seen Jaws.
Okay.
So let's talk about Jaws. I totally forgot about that movie when I was making my list.
Do you know what any of the other ones are?
All I know about Shawshank Redemption is that it's a prison movie. I know nothing about Shawshank Redemption. I think Rudy is a sports movie.
Yeah, it's about an underdog. It's Sean Astin trying to play football at Notre Dame. So, you know, perfect.
Oh, wow.
Just
that sounds right up my dad's alley. I'm surprised you didn't put Rudy down.
I mentioned Rudy to my dad when I was talking about this podcast, and he was like, oh, yeah, I love Rudy. It's like most dads do. It's just like the peak like underdog story. There's sports, there's Notre Dame, there's
the Fighting Irish,
there's Sean Astin, there's Vince Vaughn, there's
Vince Vaughn, really?
Yeah, yep. There's mill explosions, there's, you know, drama.
Huh.
It's everything you could ask for in a dad movie. Shawshank Redemption, we'll probably watch that on this podcast, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's like we'll just leave it at that. It's a dad movie. We'll come back to it when we watch it.
Okay. We'll have to put like dad movie in our notes. Like,
you've never seen Forrest Gump?
Oh, I forgot about Forrest Gump. I've seen Forrest Gump. Yes.
I was gonna say, like, what? We've been friends this long and you've never seen Forrest Gump? That has everything too. It's like history, because that's like one where dad can be like, oh, I remember that. I was alive for that. I remember when this happened.
Like they could have been one of the teenagers like in the crowd outside of Lincoln Memorial at the reflecting pool. Like they could have been there for something like that. Yeah.
Yep. We got war. We got American history with Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks coming out on
Um,
top with the dad movies.
I know. Tom Hanks, it's very quotable. I don't know
I
what else
agree.
there is to say. It's whitewashed.
Oh, it 100% is.
All the things dads love. Uh,
Ah, classic.
Jaws, it's, the man on a mission. It's the fighting against authority fighting against authority. There's
Yeah.
children in danger. There's an animal that has to be destroyed. There's boats.
Like it's a more relatable Moby Dick.
Yeah. There's a drunk guy that you can't understand, but you want to have drink with him kind of guy. There's the guy that like wink wink at the camera, the like smart ass science guy. Dad can see himself in anybody in this movie. Jaws is a classic dad movie. And lastly, A Few Good Men, which is another movie that my dad talks about all the time. It's a Tom Cruise movie.
There we go, Tom Cruise.
I think courtroom dramas are another, it's just like its own type of dad movie because there's drama, it's clever. This one in particular.
Doesn't that one also have like the military in it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a military movie. There's
Well, it's funny. I would always see I would always see the commercials for when we lived in Southeast Virginia. It's where we met. There was like always one commercial about the lawyer from A Few Good Men. He's a real guy. So he would be like, you might have seen my story in the movie, A Few Good Men. And he's like still practicing. I don't know. But I was just like, that's all I know about A Few Good Men is that it's a court related movie and that it's a true story for the most part.
Yeah. So it's, got the true story, the military, Tom Cruise, courtroom drama, Demi Moore. What else can you
love her.
I'm excited to hear your list.
So I definitely tailored this more towards what I figure my dad likes, like, and also like with our definition, I feel like it fits pretty well. So I have Inglourious Bastards, The Other Guys, Caddyshack, Blazing Saddles, and Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yep.
So Inglourious Bastards, the one that like kind of skirts the definition because it is a bit more gory, and it's a Tarantino film, but I justified it because like the vast majority of American dads hate Nazis.
This is true. If there's any like outsmarting or beating a Nazi in any form or fashion, dads are on board with that.
Dads are all over it. And also dads, at least in my experience with the dads that I have met, including within my own family, they're like definitely like kings of revisionist history. So like within their own lives, they'll be like, I remember when this happened. And then your mom comes in like, that definitely did not happen the way you just told your child it happened. Like your mom comes in later like, yeah, your dad said that like he caught you from like falling out the second story. No, that's not true. Like
whitewashing history.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. Yeah. Revisionist history, whitewashing. So, and also like the opportunity, yeah, like you said, to like beat up Nazis or like shoot Hitler like 70 times while a theater is burning down. Definitely, at least for my dad, just like peak, like chef's kiss history movie, quote unquote history movie. And it's not as gory as like other Tarantino films. Like, I think like one of the goriest parts is like when they scalp people. And I'm like, that's pretty gross when they scalp the Nazis. But like thinking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, thinking about Kill Bill, like I don't think Inglourious Bastards is as gory, but it's still a gory movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like World War II. And Brad Pitt, and it's like badass, but it also has humor in it. So I think that like makes a pretty good meeting point for a dad movie, in my opinion. So that's why I put it. I put that one at the top because I think it has the most elements to like support, like carry the gore with it. You know what I mean? I'm like, we'll ignore the skidding of like other human beings because it's funny and has Brad Pitt in it, and he says "buongiorno" in a really country accent.
Yeah, dads don't know how to do accents. They can relate with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think my dad loved that part the most, where like they pretended to be Italian filmmakers or whatever it was. Yeah, I think he really enjoyed that part of the movie. So, the other guys, it's just a great movie.
I
It's
mean,
just
we
a
have
very
Will
funny
Ferrell and
movie.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious, but it's like mostly unproblematic as well. Like the elements of the movie, the story itself, very unproblematic. Like
Mm-hmm.
Mark Wahlberg being like a racist aside, it's like it's pretty unproblematic. Like it's another underdog story where it's two cops who like had all this potential, kind of like keep getting squashed by like the powers that be, and they are the authority, but they also are anti-authority because they have to like run from the cops and then run from, you know, the Nigerian drug lords or whoever else, and in order to like save the police pension
The
fund.
very average Will Ferrell has a like bombshell wife. Like dads
Yes,
love that. They love that. There's
yes,
no sex, but it's like hinted at that, you know,
yes.
they
Oh
fuck.
yeah, that they get it on. Um, and I think that Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell are like a great pair for that, because like dads could be either one.
Yeah,
They can see
exactly.
themselves as the badass like Mark Wahlberg, or they can see themselves as like the funny, like more common sense
Nice
like Will
guy.
Ferrell character, nice guy, hot wife. They definitely want to relate to that.
Used to be a pimp in college.
Yeah, classic. I mean, every dad can relate to that dark past, but now is like an accountant.
They've settled down.
Exactly. So that's why I love that movie. Again, it's also just really funny.
Also, there's The Rock and
Yeah, The Rock's in that movie too, and
Samuel L.
Samuel L. Jackson. Fantastic. It gets better the more I think about it. Ice-T narrates it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the one. He's like, I don't know, that shit was wild. That shit was crazy. Yeah, it was Ice-T that narrates it. Derek Jeter's in it. Like, I mean, they just got like a pretty A-list cast to be in this like really goofy cop comedy. Yeah, no, so I really liked the other guys. My dad really likes that movie as well. So that's why I put it at number 2. Number 3 I put Caddyshack. And I just think that's like a summer dad movie, you know?
This is true. When I was talking to my dad, this movie also came up, and he was like, "I would put Caddyshack on my list, but it hasn't aged very well." And I was like, "Oh, so progressive, father.
Yeah,
Okay."
there are a lot of elements of Caddyshack that definitely have not aged well at all.
He loves this
But
movie though. He loves the gopher. Like the gopher is
yes.
his I think favorite thing that exists of all time.
Yeah, Bill
He
Murray
does the
versus the
dance.
Gopher.
He does the dance all the time.
Yeah, my dad, so that's the same thing. My dad will always talk about like Bill Murray versus the Gopher in this movie, or the line where it's like, "You scratch my boat." And it's like, "You you sink my boat, you scratch my anchor," like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
My dad says that line all the time. Also, my dad, so when he was younger, he didn't work as a caddy, but I'm pretty sure it's set in New York, right?
I've never seen Caddyshack,
It's set.
so
Oh, really?
yeah.
Ooh. Gasp. I'm pretty sure it's set in like the Northeast somewhere. Like it's a very like familiar backdrop to like where my
Mhm.
dad grew up in New York. And my dad used to work at like a beach, so he's kind of used to like the customer service, like the rich people, because it was like one of those like private beaches. I think now it's a state beach. By the way, like he had a lifeguard and like work at the snack shop or whatever. So he's used to like he can see himself as the kid, he can see himself as like the adults in the movie. It's very nostalgic for him because it's just hilarious. Yes, a lot of it is a little unsavory now, but for its time, like it was like a very like popular, funny movie. Like everyone enjoyed it. So I think that's why I picked Caddyshack. I've only seen it once, so I'm going based off my memory from when I last saw Caddyshack. Number 4 is Blazing Saddles. Have you ever seen Blazing Saddles?
Yes, of course. Like my dad, just like your dad, is all about Mel Brooks.
Yep.
The one scene that he showed me before I actually saw the movie was the like beans scene. Yep, it's a classic dad movie. Silly humor, based off of some point in history that's a little historical.
Right.
Hints of the, good, the bad, the ugly, spaghetti western kind of
Exactly.
vibes going on, all that jazz.
It's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
The only part that almost like killed it for me was like the end, because I think the rumor is they just didn't know how to end the movie. So they just like did all of that bullshit like at once, and just like that's how they ended it. They just like completely like 180, broke fourth wall, broke seventh wall, like broke every dimension physically known to man, theoretically known to man even. They just fucking ran with it literally. And that's how they ended the movie. And for the last one, I was debating between The Graduate and Mystery Science Theater 3000. And the reason I didn't pick The Graduate is because the ending is like really depressing. And I don't think dads like movies that have like depressing endings. You know what I mean?
I can see that. I do think that, Saving Private Ryan doesn't have a happy ending.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Oh, this is true. Scratch
Don't
that.
spoil it.
No, I agree with that. I think
because like with the Graduate, and also it is like a bit more sexual. It's obviously about like a woman seducing students.
Yeah.
Mrs. Robinson. So I went with Mystery Science Theater 3000 because that's another movie that my dad was like, "What? You haven't seen this? What?" And it doesn't matter because it's a series. It does not matter which Mystery Science Theater 3000. Almost all of them are good. The ones about Gamera are probably the best. Like the really like, I don't know, like knockoff Godzilla, like Lizard King, just great. They're just, the original ones are really good. So he loves those movies. I love those movies. They have like the satire. They have like the old film. Like some of them are like foreign films, so like low key they're a bit xenophobic and like make fun of the fact that these are foreign films. Like, so that is why I picked Mystery Science Theater 3000. I just like, sometimes I'm the kind of person, I sometimes like, conversation during a movie. Like if it's a movie that's like not super serious, like to just like be like, haha, like check this out, or oh, it's so funny, just like commenting during the movie. Sometimes I'm okay with that. Like I don't mind doing that. If it's a more serious movie, I won't. Unless I'm like dead confused and I'm like, we have to stop this. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. But most of the time I try not to talk too much during movies. But that's definitely a movie where you can just like talk, like laugh along with the guys like roasting the movie basically. So I think that's why it's something you can do like with your family. You can also make fun of the movie as like the Mystery Science Theater guys are making fun of the movie. So yeah, that's why it's number 5 on my top 5 dad movies.
That's both of our lists, both of our dad's lists.
No, I was gonna say I think we both did a pretty solid job picking dad movies.
Yeah, I think they fit our lists pretty, or categories pretty well for the most part. Our dads were pretty on brand, I think. Do you have anything else to add about dad movies in general?
When I was making my list, I Googled dad movies and I found the same article you had sent me about the dad movies, the genre, the fake genre of dad movies. But anyway, so I was looking through like all these dad movies they had listed. I have not seen a lot of them. So I always thought that like my taste in movie is dad movie, which is still not wrong. But I definitely have missed out on like a whole market of dad movies.
There's a whole bunch of them out there.
Oh boy. Like rubbing my hands together, getting ready for this. Yeah, so I was like, damn, I haven't seen a lot of these.
There's a bunch out there for sure. And we will work our way through them. But yeah, so this was a fun little bonus episode. We'll try to do more episodes like this. Might not always be about a genre of movie. We might do brackets. We might do just, favorite movies, top 5s, all that kind of fun stuff.
We're winging it. We're doing what tickles our fancy. Because you know what? It's our podcast, damn it.
We play by our own rules. We're going to change them all the time.
Fight me to the death, people.
Yes. But if there's nothing else, then I guess we can wrap it up here. And I will see you at our next movie review.
Oh boy.
Bye.
Goodbye.